All right, let's get right into it. Today's explainer is unpacking a fascinating, honestly hilarious, and frankly deeply stress-inducing reality for so many of us, the double life of the hybrid engineer. I mean, just imagine spending half of your day trying to physically stop actual circuits from shorting out, and then the other half frantically typing away to stop your code from crashing. It is a relentless high-stakes balancing act. Today, we're drawing from this brilliant stand-up routine that just perfectly captures our collective existential crisis, specifically looking at it through the eyes of an engineer working in Myanmar. We're going to look at the psychological toll of this double life, the wildly unique environmental challenges we face, and why at the end of the day, we might just want to abandon the whole shebang. Okay, let's dive into this, because the baseline stress level for a hybrid engineer is, well, it's basically a low-grade panic attack playing on a loop. Think about these two worlds we inhabit. They're kind of like two stubborn siblings who absolutely refuse to speak to each other. In the world of electrical engineering, the stakes are so deeply physical. One wrong calculation, one misplaced decimal point, and boom, you've got actual fire, you've got smoke, you literally just caused a neighborhood power outage. It's visceral. But then in programming, one missing semicolon, one tiny little syntax oversight, and boom, you're trapped in compiler error hell. It's this invisible, maddening, existential crisis where you just end up staring blankly at your monitor, asking yourself, why do I even exist? Either your physical project is on fire or your brain is.
Section 1. The context switching toll.
And this brilliantly illustrates where this deep divide actually starts, right? Back in university. It's not just about knowing two different skill sets, it's about the relentless, exhausting toll of context switching. You've got the computer science students over here playing with Python on a super user-friendly Raspberry Pi, instantly feeling like these untouchable tech gods. And then you have the electrical engineering students. We are forced to use MATLAB simply because our professor demanded it. We aren't using a friendly little Raspberry Pi, we are programming a rigid PIC microcontroller. And here is the true trauma of the hardware side. You will spend 3 agonizing days debugging a system, literally tearing your hair out, only to discover the entire problem was just a single loose wire. It builds a completely different kind of resilience. Or, maybe just paranoia.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the ultimate debugging nightmare, handling hardware and software at the exact same time. This is the escalating horror we face daily. Step 1, you write the code perfectly. No syntax errors, you're feeling great. Step 2, you upload it to that microcontroller. Everything seems fine. Step 3, you physically power it on. Step 4, absolutely nothing works. It's totally dead. And this leads directly to step 5, the absolute breaking point. Because you're doing both hardware and software, you now have to ask yourself, okay, is the problem in the code? Is it in the physical circuit? Is it a bad connection? Or, in a moment of pure desperation, is the problem in the spirit realm? The sheer number of variables to troubleshoot is just mind-boggling.
Section 2. The real enemy, local power cuts.
But what happens when you take this already stressed out, overworked professional and put him in an environment that actively works against them? For an engineer in Myanmar, there's a much bigger boss battle to fight, and that is local power cuts. When the power suddenly drops out, our dual personalities really start to shine through. If you're currently wearing your electrical engineer hat, your immediate reaction is righteous indignation. You look at the blackout and think, this is fundamentally unacceptable. We are engineers. We must improve the infrastructure and fix this grid. But if you happen to be wearing your software developer hat at that exact moment, the reaction is entirely different. You kind of just shrug and think, well, I guess it's time to code in the dark on battery backup. Or actually, scratch that. Maybe I'll just take a nap. It's this hilarious Jekyll and Hyde response to a massive environmental disruption.
But man, sometimes the timing of these blackouts is just almost cruel. Take this painfully relatable scenario. Minute 1, you open MATLAB. Now we already established how heavy and cumbersome this software is, right? So you sit there and you wait. Minute 29 rolls around. The simulation you desperately need to run is finally, agonizingly, almost completely loaded. You are right there at the finish line. Minute 30, just as your finger hovers over the mouse to press run, boom, the power cuts out. Everything goes black. Let me tell you, there's absolutely nothing that humbles you faster than waiting half an hour for heavy software to load, only to be instantly defeated by the local power grid.
Section 3. System failure in real life.
So, you're stressed at work, the power keeps cutting out, and you're constantly looking for bugs. What happens when this relentless, hyper-logical engineering mindset spills over into your personal life? Well, it usually causes a massive system failure in dating. So the crucial point is, we just can't turn off the technical jargon, even when we're trying to be romantic. Take this incredibly specific, terrible attempt at flirting. Babe, love is like an AC circuit. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but in the end, there's always resistance. Unsurprisingly, a joke like that usually leads straight to a breakup.
It's funny, for sure, but it really highlights how deeply ingrained this technical framing becomes. We literally start seeing every single aspect of human connection through the lens of physics and voltage.
In fact, we don't even really date in the traditional sense at all. We treat relationships exactly like a risky software deployment. First, we simulate the whole relationship in our heads. Then, we relentlessly overanalyze every single interaction. We run diagnostics until we inevitably find critical errors or potential failure points in the dynamic. And because we've already pre-calculated all these bugs and hypothetical breakups, we just abort the simulation. We never actually start closing the deal. We debug the relationship before it even gets off the ground.
Section 4. The Street Food Epiphany.
Which brings us to the climax of our explainer today. After dealing with the fires, the compiler errors, the blackouts, and the romantic failures, we reach this profound, somewhat absurd realization. There's a sheer, bitter irony to all of this. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, on one hand, engineers are the unsung heroes of the modern age. Without us, there'd be no Wi-Fi, no apps, no smart devices, and absolutely no working electrical grid. We power the world. But right on the heels of that pride comes a really crushing realization. Wait a minute, if we build all of this, that means we're also the exact same people responsible for the power outages. We are the ones writing those terrible, buggy mobile apps that frustrate everyone. The heroes keeping the world running are simultaneously the villains breaking it.
When you look at that grim reality, a strangely appealing, highly logical alternative starts to form. The engineering path offers high stress, constant debugging across multiple planes of reality, and the heavy guilt of being responsible for literal power outages. But the chef's path, selling street food, it offers way more profit and significantly less stress. No MATLAB, no loose wires, just food, simple transactions, and peace of mind. It honestly becomes the ultimate logical conclusion to a completely irrational career.
Which leaves us with a final, extremely memorable question. Is walking away from the keyboard and the circuit board to chase a life of street food profit and low stress actually the smartest engineering decision you could possibly make? It really makes you chuckle at the absurdity of the whole tech grind, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope this gave you a newfound appreciation, and hey, maybe a little bit of pity for the hybrid engineers out there fighting the good fight. And listen, if your power goes out tonight, it is not our fault. See you next time.